Hi, everyone, and thanks for having me here. It's a wonderful topic to talk about. I love talking about what I'm going to talk about now. Just a quick intro. Myself, Adi Mopidevi. I live out of San Diego area, United States. I'm a co-founder and a chief product officer with Adtech. I build this is probably the third company I've started, and we're based out of India and US. I take care of enterprise strategy for them. But apart from that, of course, I love technology. Technology has been my thing for the past 16 years. I worked in Microsoft before. Has been a great fan of how technology can really impact the world. I love deep thinking. I play cricket. I write. I write in both Telugu and English. Telugu is the native tongue I speak, and I'm a dad. I have two wonderful kids, and I love to read. This is the new habit I've s- uh, kind of built after COVID. Those are the current books I've been reading. Having said that, this is the topic I have for today, and I also really, it's very emotional to me, very close to my heart. Something I'm really really passionate about. The future of school, how it is to be studying probably say 10 years from now in a school, or say 30 years from now, 50 years from now, how it needs to change. So before I go to that, you see this image, right? This is a AI generated image, and I was dabbling around with my vision, what I'm thinking, and then I wanted to be outdoorsy, etc., etc. And then I thought, you know what, let me just go and ask my daughter, who's 8 years old, and ask her what does she think the future of school should be. So I actually went and asked her, Chaitra, what Chaitra is the name, and what would be the future of school as per you? How do you want the school to be, say, when your kids go to school? She drew a picture, and it is this. She said, I don't want buildings. I just want it to be outside. Yeah, I want to learn a bit about math and stuff like that, but I want to figure out things. I want to know what it is not. And most of the times, most of the learning actually for me happens here because that is where I've seen. I'm like, okay, I was just comparing these two images. And then I'm thinking, the human as they grow up, they have certain unexpressed needs, you can say, or their inability to communicate and ask for those, where a system really need to understand and kind of cater to that going forward. So with that in mind, I was kind of thinking, why did I even end up here? What really motivated me to do this? One of the books I read was The Conscious Parent, where it talks about the potential of a child is literally what you think it is. For example, I think my daughter can probably only run 300 meters. That's my perception of her ability. But in reality, she might actually have the ability to run probably a half a mile or even more than that, because she did like 25 miles, 30 miles in her school for a jogathon. We don't know. So we literally have to believe that they're much more capable, or rather their ability is far different from what we think their ability is. So when I pondered on this quote from The Conscious Parent, I was just moved to the core. And then this hit it out of the park. This is one of my all-time favorite quotes. I love this. In my this I read on a core answer. I don't know who's the author for this, but this is fantastic. In my kindergarten, I asked, why is moon not falling on Earth when Earth has gravity? In my 10th grade, I asked, what do I have to do to get an A grade in all subjects? So something happened to the quality of questions along the way. Um, it's very interesting how the kind of questions kids ask. Why is tomato red? I remember one of the fascinating questions my kids asked me was, how come colors came into the world in the first place? How did they even happen? I'm like, I don't know. We have to figure it out. And these kind of questions literally push them forward in their own ability to explore themselves. But let's try to dwell a little deeper into why the schooling system is like how it is right now, and what kind of purpose it really served, what went well with the system, what it is really doing well for us right now. We can't blame it. We are all products of the school. But yes, there was a purpose. It kind of dates back to industrial revolution. It is a well structured offering. There is probably a standard structure for schooling throughout the world. It's almost all mandatory in all parts of the countries across the globe. It served the needs of industrial revolution, where when industrial revolution was happening, we needed people with capabilities. The leaders or capitalists or the government at that time saw what it was, and then they went ahead and designed a curriculum that would work. So it addressed industrial revolution needs, the major needs of growing population, ensuring awareness on core aspects to live in a community, what it takes to live, like, how do you do your taxes, how do you pay your bills, how do you really understand what it really takes to live in a particular neighborhood. And then it did adapt well to technology advancements as well. There are online schools, there's insane amount of content available, and of course most of the friends we made, or the best friends we have, are probably from the school days. So it really promoted a lot of social and interpersonal relationships. Just to look at other way, you should really look at the picture. I spent a lot of time finding this picture. If you see, the growth happened, but it didn't happen inside a bulb. Definitely, no matter what, there is growth, there was something. So most of the time when you're out of school or out of college, the important thing you had to do was break the bulb and kind of move forward with, okay, what do I really need to now to be really sustain myself, or express myself, or get the best ability, or get the best out of the ability what I have. So now we come here, what needs to change, what is the vision I'm thinking, or what is the thought process I have towards this. And that's why you see that the bulb is broken, the tree is far bigger, assuming that the brain can start growing into a bigger tree, not just get stuck as a succulent. But both are useful. I mean, I don't mean to blame the current system. What I mean to say is it's time for a change. Uh, the first aspect, from a curriculum based learning to guided exploration. The reason for curriculum based learning, which I've discussed before, and then it needs to go towards a guided exploration. And then the uncommunicated purpose, people really don't know. I mean, it's cool, like someone is doing advanced calculus, that is a favorite subject across us. If you touch any high school high school kid, they'll definitely tell you what it is. But why are you doing it? There is a lot of uncommunicated purpose, and your inability to connect to the purpose by yourself actually fosters your motivation to focus. Remember this term, motivation to focus. I'll kind of touch back on it significantly as we move forward. And the needs of Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and their ability to make most of their abilities to earn a means of living. At this point of time, we are actually choosing a profession literally, based on our interest, and our interests are a function of what kind of people you have seen, what kind of family you're brought up in, what kind of friends you have. So it's more coincidental than actually, I mean, most of the cases, not really all. And then, having said that, you definitely need to earn a means of living. So how do you build problem solving as a lifestyle into humanity, so that they really learn, okay, this is what I'm really here for. I need to solve problems on a day-to-day basis. That's what literally you do after you get out of college. And while solving the problems, impact the community they live in on a continuous basis and drive change growing up. And one of the significant challenge in all of this is, okay, how do they really do it? you know okay, what is that they need to know that they really need to do it? Because most of the kids, you see, you probably take 20 kids in a math class, and then the teacher is probably teaching about, say, long division for decimals. Probably say 20% of the kids are like, oh, I don't even know what this is. I just need to figure out the pattern on how exactly where I need to keep the dot. Trust me, that's exactly how I have learned, and that's how my kids are learning right now. So though the technology advancement is there, the content delivery or the content creation itself hasn't been really customized or adapted enough, so that it can foster a problem solving thinking in the kid. Oh, this is why I am doing what I am doing. Or, oh, this is exactly what it means when I do this. Right? So moving forward from there, what is the vision? What is the vision? So I want all of you to just kind of spend a minute, read this and sink it in. And just imagine if you went to a school like this. Right? Imagine a school where you walk in and they have a problem, you have a problem to solve for that day. Hey, you know what, we're going to help the we have going to undertake a project for the next 2 months. Our goal is to help all the homeless people to eat 2 meals. So how are we going to do that? As we have this much space, we have to figure out what we can grow, and let's grow these veggies and see what we can do to help these people. So that's the project you have for the next couple of months. and you're literally thinking about it for the next 2 months, on what do I need to do, how do I need to do that. And in that process, you actually understand capacity planning, you understand what works, what doesn't work. But the question is, okay, this is a one-off idea, right? This is a one-off idea. And the most important thing, what I've realized in my research, is that if there is one trait that can change the life of a kid in themselves, it's their ability to maintain the motivation to focus. In any task they're doing, if they're able to figure out the motivation to focus, why am I focused to do this, then it is something else for them. Now, going, what is stopping us from doing this? Why is that we can't really do this, right? Or what happens to kids if at all you build a school like this? So I took a couple of examples. These are just individual user scenarios what I brought up, where Ani is my son. He's interested in cricket and he loves Tollywood movies, which is a movie from the southern India, um, of the state where we are from. And he's too interested about Bhangra, which is an Indian dance. And he's not a big fan of reading because he feels that the literature he's reading is actually not motivating him to focus. Now, can I help him in any way based on his interest to acquire a new ability to solve a problem? And similarly, there is another kid, my friend's daughter. She loves dancing and chemistry. She's trying to learn art and is not so motivated. But she wants, but she's not finding the motivation to focus. How can we foster learning path for her given current interests? So this is where my research and my thought process started. And when I was experimenting with kids for the past like 10 years, you can say. Needless to say, my son is 12. So once my son was born, I started kind of literally experimenting how these kids really learn and what happens. And then why Gen AI is a really big deal for school. Really, really big deal. Because if you look at the problem I spoke about, homeless, it is so hard to create that kind of content and that kind of structure at scale. You need a lot of intellectual human ability to create, consider various factors, and create that level of content for different schools across the country. Just take across the county, you probably have like say 50 schools. How do you create so much content? Insane. You cannot. Now with Gen AI coming into picture, things are different. You can really create content at scale, and it can factor, it can customize, not just at a student level. It can probably even customize based on the mood of the student that day. It can go to that level. What happens because of that, if you create content at that level and enable them to um, foster it, is their motivation to focus will improve. And it's a psychology thing to say, the moment you don't have motivation to focus, you actually want to be diverted. Now, we know, all of us know what kind of diversions we deal with, what kind of diversions kids deal with. It's insane in the amount of social media. It's screens, you call it, video games, you call it, good, bad, ugly. Everything in moderation is great. But the moment something is a diversion, the way your brain treats that is very different. Now, Gen AI has got an extraordinary capability to impart, improve, and let them actually sustain the motivation to focus. For example, say the task changes a little bit. Oh, you're motivated to focus all of a sudden. I'll give you an example. So my daughter does a piano class, keyboard class. Sorry, she doesn't like when I say piano. Keyboard class at early morning 6:30, and she was like, oh, I have to be up at 6:30, in the class, so I have to wake up by 6:15. One of the interesting things the teacher did for her is the first 10 minutes they actually play. They don't learn keyboard. They play games like tic-tac-toe, they play games like name place animal thing. Hey, all of a sudden things changed. She's really looking forward to the class right now. That's such a simple change. But how do you generate that level of interest and content and scale? Right now, it was the capability was just with humans. But this is where the transition I see, that Gen AI is going to fundamentally change how schooling is going to run. And what is the change? Okay, I wanted to summarize this so that it kind of sinks in and you have an ability to understand what or rather you have a comprehension of what I'm trying to say. Is a structured framework of the curriculum based system, born of the industrial revolution, should kind of transform into an agile, human potential based model of exploratory problem solving. This sounds like an axiom, but what I literally mean to say is, from a structured framework, it has to literally go towards a human potential based model for exploratory problem solving. And this is only possible if you can generate exceptional quality content at scale and kind of build a top down system starting at a county level, starting at a uh, thought process of, oh, how this is how the school district is, this is how the geography is, this is how the county's challenges are. Say a county has a challenge of um, littering, as simple as that, right? How do we solve it? What do we do? you know we just as I asked my daughter today, can you draw, I'm talking about this topic, can you actually draw a picture for me about how the future of the school should be? Asking her, and I asked her, what are the top three things you want your school to change? The first thing is she told me was, I want it to be more fun. And second thing she said, which I probably am not sure, she said, like, I want the teachers to be more friendly with kids, not to push me to do something but enable me to do something. I was shocked with the words she used. The other side of the spectrum is being a teacher is not at all easy. It's very, very, very hard. And there are very few countries which rewards teachers really, really well, but many of them really don't. Um, so what's the motivation to really become a teacher? So this ability to look at content at this level and ability to impact the community will actually bring in fresh talent, a fresh thought process in the teacher spectrum as well. And these people will be really able to m- craft the motivation they had in them into kids. So we're literally upping the game of teachers, taking their time away from the so-called content creation to actually imparting the human touch, imparting the extraordinary ability of humans to connect with each other and further improve, and even multiply their motivation to focus. If a school can really contribute to the littering problem of the county, and they have like 20 schools, imagine how many young brains you have that are thinking to actually solve this problem. And if we can create content leveraging the tech, what we have at scale, nothing like it. And this is something I would really want to go back to school if this really happens. This is something amazing, something fantastic that I would be like, oh, wow, this is fantastic again. To summarize, the fundamental first principle of the future of school is fostering problem solving as a competency. Really pushing yourself to see that you're a problem solver. That's how the human race has been. That's how every race has been. When you started off, you probably are barefoot, you don't know what it is and not. From there, as an early man, we kind of got here where we got here. It was fantastic. We solved a range of problems. Sapiens is probably a big mirror of what all kinds of problems we have really solved. And then, if that is the first principle, and the operational guideline for the school is that allows children to express themselves and fosters their abilities through activities, discussions, challenges, and problem solving based on their thoughts, perspectives, insecurities, fears, aspirations, likes and dislikes. This is literally a mission, what I have in my mind around how a future school would be. And what is the first result, or what is the result you really want to see every day? Impact the world around you as you learn. You're not actually learning to impact later, but you're actually impact the world around you as you really, really learn. This, having said this, this is the exploratory. This is something what I'm personally working on. I love this as space. I'm really motivated about impacting. I've run many programs with kids, experimenting different methodologies, different thought process. And to do this at scale, it also requires a range of infrastructure, et cetera, et cetera. But one thing I really want kids to take back, I kind of found the slide after my daughter drew that picture. I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree to what she's saying. It has to be more fun. It has to bring a smile, because when you study with smile, it is something else. It's your motivation to focus is next level. And but some of the traits we would really want to keep, or what are the traits what we really want to have as a final thing, is yes, it definitely has to be fun. Sorry, it's a video, but I kind of uploaded a PDF. You can't see the video. We want it to be really fun. We want to motivate you to solve problems, and this is my favorite. Take wherever you go. Take literally wherever you go. Right now, school is you're bound to a geographical location. We have to decouple it. I'm traveling, or my kid wants to learn something, or he's exploring something. We're somewhere else. I should be able to take wherever we go. You know, I personally believe the schooling systems, the standards are ready to actually decouple. Probably it requires certain uh, the content, again, what we are talking about based on the current local availabilities, because probably people can't even teach that, if that's not possible. But you should be able to take it wherever you go and solve problems for the real world and impact the community. The impact has to be seen, has to be understood. That is how the world is really gonna appreciate the kids learning. Imagine your kids go to school, they have literally solved a problem for the community today, or they have a project they're working on which is literally solving the problem for the community that day. So with this, I would like to conclude my talk. Fantastic to have shared my passion and my vision for the future of school. This is a very, very close to heart topic for me. If you're interested, please reach out. I'm available on LinkedIn. Thank you so much again for your time.